No worries. Let's get into it. And today's session will probably go for around 30 minutes. So there's going to be plenty of time for questions at the end. So today's agenda, we'll be going through the introduction now. Before I do start, I do just want to call out that there has been some issues with Microsoft this morning. And it has affected our platform a little bit with lagging and some login issues. We believe that that's kind of all been resolved now, but you may still see a bit of lagging while the Microsoft servers are back up and running. If you do have any issues, just reach out to support, but we think that everything is going smoothly now. Today, we'll be looking at the new reminders feature. We'll be looking at the contract price retention that's been added. My colleague, Matt, who is here with me today, will go through some updates to our AI, Blue, and then we'll have some Q&A at the end. We do also have another colleague of mine, Ryan, who's joining. He's going to be manning the chat and answering any questions that you may have as we go. Also, you'll notice if you look below me, there is a little Q&A pop-up where you can ask your questions. We'll do our best to get through them all in hopefully a timely manner. No worries. So I'm just going to change my screen here. Today, we're going to look first at the new reminders feature. So you'll see the reminders are link down the bottom here in the bottom left of your screen. If you click that, it will be a pop-out. So you can click on it from any part of Buildxact. I was currently in the jobs, so it's just popped out over the top. So here's where I can see my reminders. As you can see, I've got a couple in here today. If I want to exit out of my reminders, we just do it through the click at the back. So with the reminders feature, we have 3 different ways that you can add reminders to show up here. I'm going to go through those today. The first one is by coming into the reminders feature itself, clicking on add reminder, and then coming in here, adding in the description, adding in who it's assigned to. So I'll just assign it to myself. And then I can also decide if I want to send an email as well. This will also show up on our Buildxact Onsite app, which I'll touch on in a moment. So I can set an email reminder. And I can also choose up here next to the date and time. I can actually choose if it is for all day or if it is for a specific time period. I can add multiple contacts as well. And I can put in any notes here. And then all I need to do is hit save. That is then going to add that to my reminder list. Which is not, why is that not showing? I've got to check because I haven't assigned myself here. So you can see that's now added because of the filtering. So that is where I was going next. You can filter this based on your contacts. You can filter it also based on the task statuses, as you can see over here. And then if I would like to, go into the task once it is complete, I can then go in and mark that as complete, hit save, and that will mark it as complete. You can also mark it as complete in the app, which I will show you in a moment. The other way that you can add reminders for your staff or your suppliers or contacts is by doing it through the Buildxact schedule. So if I go into my job here and I click on my schedule, I can come down here into any of my tasks or my categories. I can click on the task. By clicking into the task here, I'm able to add a contact. So I'll add it to myself again. We also have the option of sending email reminders from here, which has been in the app for a while now. So you can also preset these reminders to be sent as well. In this case, though, I'm just going to save this for myself. And then I will come over here to booking confirmation so that I can make sure that this worker or the contractor is aware of the work that they need to do or the reminder. And I can then select them here and send an email for them to accept and decline that invitation. Once that's done, then it will then again show up here in your reminders as well. So that's the two ways from within the Buildxact app that you can create reminders. The third way is in the Buildxact Onsite app. So with the Onsite app, you can have your workers or even your subcontractors and contractors download the Buildxact app. And then for you to invite them to this job, so this Newey Street job, you would come into the job details, scroll down, and you would invite the crew that are working on this job. This will allow them to have limited access to some of the job details and also access to the reminders feature. So when you create those reminders, they will be able to see them in the app. So I've got a couple of images that I'll show you here. We've got the homepage here of our web app, our Onsite app, and you can see the most, I guess, up-to-date reminders here showing for this person. If you want to click further in, you can click into the reminders, and then that worker or contractor will see their complete list of reminders or tasks that they have from the schedule. They do have the option here to filter, and also the option, as I mentioned, to then create the reminder directly from the app. Once they click on create reminder, they will just come in and be able to add the description, the date, again, choosing if it's all day or a certain time, and then adding that reminder in. Hitting save, that will create the reminder in the Onsite app, and it will also create the reminder back in the web app for you to look at. Also, with the schedule tasks, you'll know that within our schedule, here, you can update progress from within the task itself. So you can update the progress here. That is also available now when you assign a task to your workers, that they can actually come in to their reminder and then update the progress as they go, and then also mark it as complete. So that's our reminder feature. So happy to just see if there's any questions before we move on to the contract retention.
Doesn't look like there are any specific questions at the moment, Dane. I have put a link to the article regarding using reminders and the mobile app in the chat.
Perfect.
Yeah, all good for now, it looks like.
Cool. So the next thing that we're going to touch on is contract retention. So we have always had retention available for the completion percent invoicing, but we've had it added now to the contract price. I don't think a lot of builders that use Buildxact are using it. It is more heavily focused generally in commercial construction. But yes, the option now is available for you to add retention. So if you go into your estimate and you've won the job, you would then go to create the job. From here, you'll see here that we've got contract price. Now I've got the calculate retention enabled. So this is going to automatically add retention. So if you're not using retention, make sure when you go to create the job that is unticked. So I've got a job here for $11,000 and I'm going to want to add some retention. So a couple of things to take into consideration here. So what we're doing is we're retaining from charging the client 10% per invoice up to a total of 5% of that job. And then at the end of the job, you as the builder can then invoice the client for that retention amount, either in one invoice or in multiple invoices. Also important is if you are including or excluding variations from the retention as well. That's also important. So I'm going to go ahead and create this job with retention included. And I'm going to go over to my outgoing invoices. And we can see here now that we've got retention. So the retention total is 5%. So 10% of that up until we hit that ceiling. So my first invoice, the deposit, I'm just going to do a cheap deposit of 250. Okay, and you can see here when I've created my invoice that retention of 10%, $25 is being withheld or retained from the invoice. So I'm going to go ahead and change that to invoiced, save and close. And you'll see here, the invoice is here. And if I click into our invoice that the customer will see, you'll notice that it has got the retention included here as well. So now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to create another invoice. And I'm going to put it up as 9,000. Page 1, and you'll notice that when we do that, it will save only the $475 because we're going to hit the ceiling of 500, so we can't retain any more than 500. It's only going to retain $475 from this invoice. So I would go save and close, and you'll see here that the retention total of 500 has now hit its ceiling. And now we're able to go into the retention invoices and claim back that money from our clients. So generally this is done after the job is complete and at an agreed upon time, just to cover things such as defects and any issues that potentially occur after the build has been finished. So that is our contract retention. Any questions regarding retention or again, reminders for now? No questions. I think, Ryan, you're going to pop that in, the FAQ. So you'll notice in the chat the FAQ, which will go into how you can do that at a later date as well. I'm going to pause there. If there's no questions, we can then move into my colleague, Matt, who's going to take us through some AI. I think there's one question. No, there's not. No worries. Matt, I'll hand it over to you to go into our AI.
No worries. Thanks, Dan. I'm just going to share out my screen and we'll get started once it's enabled. All right, you should be able to see the screen now. What we're going to be talking about today is the changes we've made to the Blue Estimate Generator, the Blue Recipe Assistant, as well as the Blue Reminder. So, sorry, Estimate Reviewer, my apologies. We're going to start with the Estimate Generator. We're going to try and follow it all the way through. As Dane mentioned earlier, we have had some outages due to the Microsoft network, so we may not be able to go all the way through, but I have prepared one earlier. So you'll see immediately this screen's changed quite a lot from our initial release back in June. We brought the description up to the top. We've added a little microphone button here, so you can now do talk to text. This is enabled on your browser, on your phone, your iPad, or other tablets. We've also added out another 6 templates and the ability to not use a template, which is probably the most exciting part of this. What that means is you don't need to start from any of these. You can just start talking or typing straight to it about your project. The AI, Blue, will figure out the rest. Why that's important? Well, earlier on, 5 months ago, we only had 2, and they were limited. Now you've got no range of limitations. The only limitation is what's in the background and what you tell it. Works off of information. The more you give it, the better it gets. So the first thing I wanted to show you is that if you click on any of these, you obviously get a little text box here. It's already pre-filled with a good suggestion prompt. Don't have to use this, completely change it to your heart's content, completely remove it, do whatever. But just tick that off for a second, delete all that out. I can then use talk to text. So first things first about this feature. One, it is talk to text. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to pick up on accents. It's going to do other bits and pieces. The second thing is that it's only enabled on supported browsers. Particularly, these are Google Chrome and Firefox. If you're using any other browser, it won't work. Please switch to those browsers in order for it to work. So the great other bit about this is that you can pause it and talk to it. So today we're going to be doing a renovation for a bathroom. The floor area is going to be 25 square meters. We're going to rip up the old tiles. We're going to replace them with a white porcelain tile, 60 centimeters by 60 centimeters. And at that point, I'll pause. You can see it has made a little bit of a typo there. Things happen. But we can continue on and everything like that. We can go on about how we're going to replace the bathtub, put a new inbuilt in there with chrome fixtures and fittings. And there it is, all done. Now I'm just going to leave those typos in for now. I'm not going to waste too much time trying to fix them, but we're going to let the estimator generator go in the background. The other key thing to note here is this new generic no supplier. What that means is the AI is going to make up the prices. You can select this and select any supplier that is available to you. Due to my location, I am limited to the ones that are available due to my location, and I'd need to connect to them too. Otherwise, I can always put in a generic no supplier and still get pricing. You'll need to check the accuracy. So while that's generating, we're going to talk about the things you can't see that's occurred in the up left. We're going to talk about what's in the background. Not only are we working to make this faster, it's still an ongoing project. We are also improving and have improved the amount of recipes that are in the background of the system and brought that up by several thousand. What that's really done is allowed the other AI, the recipe assistant from Blue, to piggyback off of that information. So it's had a large uplift in its consistency and availability of products because of this project. Now you're probably sitting there thinking, well, what's the difference between the two of them? Well, think of it like a little brother and a big brother. The big brother can do more things. He can run longer, do all the bits and pieces. Generally, he's older, he's got more experience. The younger brother can't do as much, still falls over, still does these bits and pieces, isn't as capable. What this means in translation form is the recipe assistant can do small tasks. It can do your decking. It can work out the amount of decks, the amount of boards you need, the nails, the screws, the balustrade, the stairs, the subfloor, the joists, the bearers, all those sorts of stuff. The estimating generator can also do that, plus the bathroom, the living room, the kitchen, the lounge room, the bedroom, the dining room, the ensuite, the hallway. It can do the whole house. It can do the roof. It can do the trusses. It can do the framing all at the same time. That's the difference between the two. As you can see, the estimate generators work nicely. Thankfully, with the outages, we haven't experienced any dramas there. And we can then go into all these and have a look over them. As you can see, the recipe assistant's here. If we need to add anything in here, and I'm going to go into it now because I'm going to point out its other facelift. Inside here, for the recipe assistant, you can see we've added 2 new tabs, recent and saved. Recent is self-explanatory. It's anything you've recently typed in. So if I go into it, I can see a timber decking hardwood that I used earlier today. I also have this little button just here to hit save. Obviously on my save prompts, there isn't anything there yet. But now I can save that and find it here. Now you can save as many as you like. I do think there is a limit, but I'm not 100% sure on what it is. I haven't found it yet. Let's put it that way. As always, the suggestions still work. These suggestions will be based off of what the category's name is and what you've been previously doing. Okay. As with the estimator generator, you can also connect to the suppliers, get the same sort of pricing and whatnot. That's its uplift in a snapshot. The next phase of all of this would really be to review your estimate, whether you're doing it manually or whether you're doing it by the AI. It's an important step with anything generated by the AI. With our system and our features, what we've got is the Blue Reviewer. You can find it over here on this side tab. And now what we've added is the ability to create a checklist. Something that's been a cried out feature for quite a while is the ability to make a checklist for things to check off on your jobs. I've created one earlier for a bathroom, and you can always go in and edit, duplicate, and delete these. So we're going to go in and sort of edit it and just sort of get an idea of what a finished one looks like before we make one. As you can see, I've given it a name. I've not bothered too much with the notes. All I did was this item right here. I went in and said the tiles need to be checked for the unit of measure and the quantity, just making sure that I don't end up with square meters on my tiles when really I want each, or a box. I then asked for AI suggestions, and I kept clicking it until I was satisfied. It continued to add more and more of these points that need to be checked, whether it be for compliance, just good measure, things that you would normally have to think of every single time. You can then instruct the AI to review based on this list. So I'm going to hit save on this checklist. I'm going to make a new one for today. I'm going to do decking for today. I can write some notes here and make sure that it's for it to the hardwood. And I'm just going to go here and say boards random length, if I can spell, supply in linear meters. I could then continue to add by the add items button, typing in whatever I wanted to give the advice to the AI when it does my checks, or I can use the AI suggestions. It'll think for a few seconds. It's going to go off of all the information you've done. And there you go. It's confirming the type of wood or composite material for the decking boards, including allowances for fasteners and screws, and it goes on. And I can just keep clicking it, and it's just going to keep coming up with more and more suggestions for me to add until I've gotten to that point where I'm happy that I've got a well-rounded checklist that's going to enable me not to miss things on jobs moving forward. Now, most of you probably won't have this feature. It is a paid add-on at the pro level. It is also included with your master tier subscription. But for now, we're just going to click review on the bathroom one I created earlier. It'd be a bit redundant if I used the decking one on a bathroom. So we're going to give that little check, and it's going to come through, and there you can see it's already checking all these things. It's going straight off the checklist. So if I scroll back up to the top, you can see the first thing is the one I typed in much earlier in the day, which is checking the tiles unit of measure and quantity. And then it's basically going here and says, look, I provided a quantity of 28 square meters for the white porcelain tiles, adhesive and grout, consistently appropriate for tiling work. Well, means I got to check it. It's come out in square meters. As I said earlier, one in each or in boxes. Now I've got something to go and check. Rather than just assuming the AI's got it right, it's giving me this little prompt to tell me that I'm doing it wrong or I'm on the right track. It's even giving me a little bit of a recommendation of what to do. This little circle up here is how you tick it off and say, yes, I've done this. So you've got a checklist for your checklist. And effectively it goes there and it'll live in now the completed zone. And that's pretty much it for all the facelifts for those 3 features of the Blue AI features. Dane, you're on mute. Dane, mute. It's all right, buddy.
Always happens.
Always.
Is it possible to run a pool house build through Blue?
Absolutely. But I wouldn't do it through the recipe assistant. Let's say that much.
Yeah. Yeah. And the second part to that question is, can Blue read plans for adding to the costs?
No, Blue doesn't have the features in terms of actually reading a series of plans. Now, you could couple this with another AI feature like ChatGPT and effectively get it to summarize key points and then feed that into Blue, absolutely no problem there. We do have the takeoff assistant that does read our plans, it does scaling, and does a limited amount of takeoffs for you. But in terms of actually going ahead and reading and doing a full estimator's work off of the plans only from an upload, we're not there yet.
Cool. Yeah, so that's what we're updating today. But we have plenty of time now for any questions. If there are any questions relating to what we've seen today, feel free to drop the questions into the Q&A at the bottom or in the chat. I can see there's already one there from Marson. Is there a character limit in Blue description? Good question.
That is a good question. I actually don't know the answer. I'll be honest with that.
Yeah.
If I was to go back to it, I know there's quite a lengthy one in there. Just give us a second. I just gotta remember which one it is. I think it's the kitchen reno. As you can see, it's got a little scroll bar through there. So that's a reasonable amount to go through it. I've seen some quite lengthy ones from customers coming in. I haven't found one myself that is hit a character limit, but I'll reach out and try and get an answer for you.
Yeah, I'll make note of that, Marson, and I'll send you an email once I figure out who knows the answer to that question. Thank you. What type of, I guess I'll ask a question, Matt. So
Yeah, go for it.
what are you seeing predominantly in our users at the moment who are using this? Like, what are are there any main areas that people are using it for, or is it a bit random?
It's a bit random. We are still seeing a lot of kitchen and bathroom renos. As said earlier, we were pretty much only on those for the first 3 months of operating for Blue. So I think people are still in that phase of, oh, it has more to offer, and haven't tried it all out yet. But when it did go live with the rest, we did see a large uptick in the whole of house, and a lot of people going quite deep with what they wanted, and even getting some pretty decent results. I reviewed one with a customer a little while back where he was complaining that the AI was coming out at 300K for his whole of house renovation, and he had actually quoted out about 325 to 330 or thereabouts. So it was a little bit under, and a lot of that would go off of the fact that the labor rates that are in here are from last year, not from this year. And that's due to limitations on the AI itself.
Can Blue check if there are redundancies on items or costs?
In terms of what it's doing, it will pick up the same item across multiple recipes and so forth. So if we were to have demolition of multiple areas, say the kitchen and the bathroom, a skip hire would appear in both of them. Our system will now go through, identify that there's 2, work out how much is actually required, and give you the optimal amount.
A message from Lindsay, can you edit the labor rates to fit in with your charge out rate?
Oh, absolutely. You can, once it's on that side and you're in an estimate, you can change anything you like. So if I go back into it, I can click on it like a normal line. I'm in here on a labor to rip up the bath tiles, change it to $85 an hour, change this one to $85 an hour. It's done. Just like a normal quote. The only difference is instead of doing it all yourself, it's done by the AI and took minutes, not hours.
Yeah. I feel like a good thing that kind of makes me think, and maybe that's what the question also might mean, is like if you've got your labor rates in Buildxact.
No, it's not going to pull from that. What it's pulling from is a stock standards list of hard-coded pricing.
Yeah.
And effectively that's been put in from things that we've found from industry sources and everything like that. It basically just said, these are average rates to put it in there. Obviously it gives you just that yardstick to take out the hard yards for you.
Yeah. Robert's got a question about whether AI estimate can use his estimate template.
No, unfortunately, it's not that smart.
Yeah. And the follow-up one was from Lindsay is, can you tell AI though your charge out rate in
Like in the description?
In the description, yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. I haven't tested this myself, but I would imagine that the AI will try to pick up on it and try to do that. Now, the way that it flows down its series, it may drop off. Now, that just may be the way that it's hard-coded in the background, that it takes the set labor rates. I'm not sure. I'm not a computer programmer. So it's worth a try, but I can't guarantee the results.
Yeah. No more questions at the moment, but I'll leave it for a minute or so if there's any other questions before we wrap up today's session.
I did see one more come through from Robert just then. Again, you were trying to get AI to estimate the tiles and the cladding as separate estimate items within a template. In terms of templating and whatnot, it's hard to explain. But if you were to do the kitchen, the bathroom, the cladding, the roof, it would put it in its appropriate categories. So each of the recipes in there houses a location of where it should go. And so if you were to talk to about your roof plumbing, it should go to the roof plumbing section. If you're talking about the cladding, it should go to the cladding section or to a brick section, etc. So it won't try to put your tiles from your bathroom in with a bedroom item like your closet rails and that sort of stuff.
Question from Arthur, do you think it will be possible in the future to just upload the plan and get AI to generate estimate from it?
Possible, yes. Are we going to do it? I can't comment. I'm not a part of that team. I don't have insight to their things. While I would personally love it, I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's AI is one of those things where it might be able to do it, but you still need to review it and make edits because AI is
yes.
never going to be able to do everything for you, of course. Last question here from Joma. Can Blue check the items compiled, the specifications or codes? Not too sure.
Yes and no. So I'm gonna be very vague on this, and I do apologize for the vagueness. So under the reviewer, yes, to a good degree. I have seen it pull up and note that electrical works, in specifically the one I saw, was actually pulling up and saying, hey, this is a bathroom. It needs to be a water resistant outlet and everything like that. And the output ampage and voltage was not appropriate for the amount of loading that was going to go onto it. And that was something that blew my mind. In terms of all the other bits and pieces, it's only what's been coded in the background. So every single state, and you've got to remember this is coded for the US, Australia, New Zealand, and the rest of the world. And Canada as well, I've got their own one. There will be a gap somewhere because of human intervention, because of the AI, all that sort of stuff. There will be a gap somewhere where it will miss a code or a compliance, which is why I'm hesitant to say, yes, it will always get it. It's something you will need to check, but I have seen the reviewer pick it up. And when it has, it's been pretty consistent in doing it.
Yeah, I think I heard someone, one of the, I think it was Beck, a colleague who described AI with Buildxact as your apprentice. So the AI is the apprentice, and like everything that your apprentice does, you generally need to check it off and make sure that it's being done correctly. So AI is not your senior chippy. It's definitely more so your apprentice.
So I'm going back and forth with two of the developers as we speak as well, trying to get an answer. Well, that was a good question. I'm trying to get an answer to the question earlier about the character limit. So the head of the project and the main lead of the project for the AI and all that sort of stuff, both have said similar things. Now, one has said, and I'll quote him verbatim, it's pretty big. You are limited to the input of around 128,000 tokens. They'd say that it's excessive. It would, the more you put in, there is a point where too much information will have a negative effect. And to go into that, the lead turned around and said they could write an essay if they like. So to give you a bit of an idea, just type your heart's content.
Nice.
Hopefully it answers your question from earlier. Thanks for waiting for us.
Like it did. No worries. So there's no more questions at the moment, but I will hold off for 20 seconds just in case before we wrap up. But while I'm doing that, thank you, Matt, for, as always, for all your blue advice and knowledge.
No worries, Dan.
Thank
Great to be
you
here.
to everyone that joined from all over. Yeah, we offer daily Q&A sessions, so we have those available for an hour each day. So if you do want to get in and learn a bit more, please register for one of those daily Q&As, and you'll be able to chat with our customer success team and learn more about the product, not just about what we've covered today, but all parts of the product. So yeah, thank you. The video will be sent out. Yes, it recorded this time. I heard it. We might have had a problem last time where it wasn't recorded. So I did hear it record. So once that is available, it will get sent out to everyone who registered. Enjoy your Thursday, everyone. Thank you.